Hey there, Abiding fam, and welcome back to my channel. Hello if you are new, I'm Kelsey Lee, and today we're going to be talking about daily journaling. In 2018, I made a commitment to journal every single day and have an entry, 365 of them, for every single day of the year by the end of 2018. Needless to say, I learned a lot throughout this process, including how to commit yourself to seeing a project through, even more about my life, the ups and downs of the everyday, and about who I am as a creator. And in this video, I hope to share with you what I learned so that you can develop a daily journaling practice for yourself in 2019. As I said, throughout 2018, I committed to journaling every day. And this is the product of that. And here is a very, very large chunk of my year in 2018. And I'm so excited to be able to share a full flip through. For those of you who don't know, I do already have tons of journal with me's with more still to come available on my channel. So you can actually see how a blank page is turned into abiding memories. And then I also have flip throughs of each month that I've been able to record so far in here. And there are also going to be just quick flip throughs of each individual insert within the journal as well. So lots to see over here on my channel, so be sure to subscribe and check out all of those playlists if you're interested in learning more about the actual journaling process. But today we're going to be discussing the how-tos and just tips and tricks that I learned along the way in how to actually make this a commitment and a habit within your own life so that you can keep it going and stay true to that commitment throughout the year. So whether you're doing creative journaling like me and trying to record your memories, or if you just want to start a practice of recording what you're grateful for each day, or even just sitting down with your bullet journal and planning every day, I think you'll find something useful in this video for you, so I hope you enjoy, and without further ado, let's jump into the tips. So my first tip is one that actually might seem obvious, but that is to take photos. As many of you guys know, if you've been following along on my channel, a lot of my creative journaling has sort of a scrapbooky feel. I just think a photo really encapsulates what happened on that day. So it's a great way of recording my memories and having something visual to look at on the page, but it also is just really fabulous for jogging the memory when you're not remembering what happened that day. A lot of times I can just flip through my phone, look at my photos albums, and see what happened on those individual days. So definitely make sure that you're taking photos. I also have an entire video available for you that is all about how I print tiny photos for my journal, and also gives you tips on how to use photos in your own journal as well. So be sure to check that out. My second tip, which is definitely geared more towards creative journaling, is to take notes on what happened every day. A lot of times if you're creative journaling, you don't have time necessarily that day to sit down and come up with something really creative or a beautiful spread for the photos that you want to record. For example, when I got engaged, there was no way I was going to be able to sit down and journal that day and make a page that really captured how special that day was. So it was something that I wanted to really sit on and be able to think about how I wanted that page to look. But at the same time, I didn't want to forget all of the amazing details of that day by the time I finally got around to doing the journal entry. And that's where just a little notebook comes in really handy. I have a little notebook like this that I just sit down every night, sometimes after a few days even, and just jot down quick little bullet points of what happened the days before. Another reason why I like that sort of format is that sometimes it's just easier to commit a whole day or a few hours to sitting down and journaling. It just gives you a state of flow. It lets you get into that creative process and do multiple pages at once. But you want to make sure that you have notes so that you actually remember what happened, so you can use that to then record it in your journal. Along this same line, my next tip is to batch your pages. What this means is that maybe before you even sit down with your pen or those days even happen, you can sit down and sort of create the page ahead of time. Now, of course, you don't know yet what happened, and so you might not yet want to be putting ephemera and stickers and whatnot onto the page until you actually know what happened that day. But you can batch pages by just doing backgrounds of your pages And that way you have something to start with. This is also a great idea if you're somebody who struggles with a blank page and that's intimidating for you. By batching pages ahead of time, it gives you somewhere to start. That way, on busier days when you sit down to journal, you already have color on the page, and in some cases, all you have to do is pull out your pen and put down the words. Tip number 4 is for those of you who, like me, don't even always have the time to sit down with your notebook and jot those notes down, and that is to jog your memory. There's a few ways that I like to jog my memory when I'm trying to remember what happened on a day so that I can journal about it. The first way is through photos. Like I said, I try and take photos every day so that I can just look back through my album and see what happened on those days, and that way I can often remember the things that happened around it as well. The other tip is to look back through text messages. A lot of us have somebody in our life who we text every single day. For me, that's my fiance Ben, and often I'm telling him what I've done in the day, and we just sort of discuss how our days went. And in that way, I can just look back through our text messages and remind myself that way what happened. If you're not somebody who texts much, maybe you're somebody who uses social media, Facebook or Instagram, and you can look back through your stories or something along those lines to jog your memory as well. Tip number 5 can be applied to not only journaling and creative journaling, but really any habit you're trying to form, and that is to create a routine. So whether that means that you journal in the evening after the majority of your day has ended, or maybe you journal in the morning and recap what happened the day before, you want to establish some form of routine that gets you into the habit of journaling every day. Now, obviously, I already provided you some tips on what to do when you can't journal one day. I think it's really important to realize that it's not always realistic to do a creative activity like journaling literally every single day, but that doesn't mean you can't have an entry for every single day. Nonetheless, you still want to have some form of routine in which you're at least trying to journal every day. It's not going to be realistic to have an entry for every single day if you just are taking notes and leaving all of the creative process until the end of the year. Like I said, a good way to create a routine is to decide what time of the day works best for you, whether you're a morning person or a night person. Wherever you can set aside a little chunk of time, that's going to work really well for you. Another way to do this is to set reminders for that first month until you get into the habit. I'm somebody who likes to do calendar blocking, even for my personal life and my personal hours. So when I have my evening, I often set aside time that specifically says on my calendar, journaling. So that's a great tip as well. My next tip for ensuring that it is a habit that you're going to follow through with is to create a space for it. Whenever you're developing any sort of habit, you want to provide the least amount of resistance possible. Just like with exercise, where you want to set out your clothes the night before and be able to just get up in the morning and put them on and not have to think about it, it's going to be the same thing with journaling. You want to be able to sit down at your desk and not have to really think about the process. And a way to do that is to make sure that your entire space is set up for it. Whatever is available to me is going to be the products that I use the most, and make sure all of my favorite pens are right within hand's reach. I have my sticker books over on the left of my desk, and then over on my left I have all of my drawers with my ephemera and my different craft supplies easily accessible as well. Part of that is, of course, keeping your space organized. If you walk into your space and see that it's totally in disarray, it's not going to make you want to sit down and work. Essentially, I can almost guarantee that if you have all of your journaling products tucked in a box under your bed, there is no way that you're going to start a daily journaling habit. Now, this of course does not mean you need an entire craft room in order to do some sort of creative activity like daily journaling. But even just having a desk where you typically sit down to journal and having your few main supplies out, or even just a little caddy that you keep by the couch if that's where you like to journal, or like I said, if you're not into creative journaling and want to start a gratitude journaling process, having that journal sitting on your nightstand with a pen by it, already ready for you to journal a few thoughts before bed, that's going to be what gets you into the habit of actually doing it. So we talked about your physical space and some physical things you can do to ensure you have a great creative journaling habit, but there's also some ways you need to prepare your mental space. And one of those ways is to give yourself grace. When you're creating something every single day, the odds are that it's not always going to be a perfect masterpiece. In fact, more often than not, it's probably not going to meet all of your expectations. In those moments, you need to remember your why. Are you journaling every day to look back on these memories later? Are you journaling as a form of self-care, to free your mind or relieve stress or express gratitude? Or are you journaling as a form of creative expression, to explore your abiding creativity and to learn more about art? In every case, you need to enjoy the process, not the outcome. You need to enjoy the ups and the downs, the amazing spreads that surprised you with how beautiful they are, and the entries that are just okay. My next tip is to know what you like. Part of this is going to come with practicing and exploring your abiding creativity so that you can figure out what works and what doesn't for you. But once you do, it's okay to repeat it. I think sometimes we get very caught up in trying to be unique and overly creative with every single thing that we do that we just experience burnout. Sometimes you just have to accept that there are things that work and bring you joy, and it's okay to do them again and again, as long as they're feeding your soul. Now, after creative journaling for a while, I can create spreads pretty quickly and easily because I have a system and a basic formula and layout for a lot of my entries that I know works for me. But of course, they still all look unique because I'm using different supplies and mixing that up, but the general formula in a way stays the same. So in short, don't fix what isn't broke, and if something brings you joy, do it again and again. On that same note, you need to accept simplicity and imperfection. Now, if you look through my journal with me, so there are plenty of entries in which I went all out in every possible way, possibly to a detriment to the page because I don't know when to stop with the tip-ins. But there are plenty of entries as well in which all the entry was a doodle for the season, or literally just a background of watercolor and my journaling. Some days I filled up 2 pages full of my thoughts and memories, and other days I wrote down 2 bullet points for what happened. When you don't have much time or are feeling the pressure of being creative, try picking out just 3 items that you want to work with on that page. Maybe that's washi tape, Tombow markers, and 1 sticker. And those are the 3 items that you decided you are going to use to create this page. When you remove the pressure of all of the possibilities that exist within all of the products you own, it helps relieve the pressure. And it helps you to just get it done and stop stressing about making it perfect. One of the biggest tips and things you need to remember as you embark upon creative journaling or any form of daily journaling is to accept the mundanity of life. I have sticker books full of stickers that say best day ever, but the fact of the matter is that not every day is going to be the best day ever. It's okay to just say in your journal, you know what, today wasn't a great day. Daily journaling isn't going to be a highlights reel because not every day is a highlight. I think in today's culture, especially with social media like Instagram and Facebook, we get very caught up in this idea that everybody is living a better life than us, and that everybody else is doing something special every single day, and the fact of the matter is that they're not. And so your journal is not going to be a reflection of all of the wonderful, amazing things in your life, unless you want it to be, of course. You could choose to just put the positive in there, but if you are truly doing daily journaling and recording the bulk of your memories from the year, the odds are that there's going to be some not so great things in there as well. Daily journaling is an amazing way to discover the beauty tucked within the ordinary of your life, if you let it. And by recording the harder moments too, we can reflect on how far we've come and enjoy the highlights sprinkled throughout the rest of our spreads even more. My next tip is something I think we need to remember at the beginning of the new year when we're setting goals, not just a goal such as daily journaling, but really any goal, is to be mindful of our time. It's so important to be mindful of the season you're in this year and to set realistic goals. Even within this past year, finding the time wasn't always easy, and I think the fact that I still have like a month and a half left to journal, even though all of those memories are recorded in my notes, I still have to put them into the actual journal entries. And so that is a testament to the fact that I did not always find the time. So if you're in a busy season, it's okay to keep it simpler. Whether that means doing creative journaling still, but making your style a little bit more simplistic and not feeling the pressure to go all out as much as some other people might do that you see on social media, or to just try a simpler form of journaling, whether a gratitude journal or a prayer journal or even just a one-line-a-day journal. When I was in college, I obviously was very busy, but I made sure to journal every single night before bed. And that form of journaling literally was 3 things I was grateful for every day. So it literally took me 5 minutes to jot down, but I still have such amazing memories recorded from that time of my life because I still made a commitment to doing something. So that is my encouragement to you. Figure out what your time is this season, what your other commitments are, and make a commitment to journaling that works for you. Finally, even though this video is a daily journaling video, I think it's very important to remember that journaling does not have to be daily. So be flexible. Journaling should work for you. It should be a process of fun creativity, of reflection and self-care, gratitude and renewal. And if it's not those things, if it's work or adding stress to your life or just feeling like a great weight of pressure on your shoulders, then it's not serving its purpose. It's great to set goals, but it's okay to let things fluctuate depending on the season you're in. And as times change and as life changes, life is always happening, and sometimes our goals aren't always going to compute with what's happening in our lives. So maybe you can't creative journal every day, but maybe you can record all of your weekends. Or maybe you can record your favorite holidays and vacations. Or like I said, you could just jot down 3 things you're grateful for every night. Your life is your own. Your journal is your own. So don't try to imitate what works for somebody else. Develop your own process, and I promise whatever results is going to be a beautiful treasure for you to cherish and full of abiding memories to hold on to for the rest of your life. So as my wedding approaches, I know that I will not be able to journal every day leading up to May. But you better believe when I need a creative outlet, when I experience a beautiful day I want to remember forever, when I need a moment to myself to reflect and find inner peace, you will find me at my desk, surrounded by photos of my loved ones, the dance of fairy lights, a warm cup of tea by my side, art supplies that inspire me, a pen in my hand, and my journal flipped open to a blank page, just waiting for me to pour my soul into it. My journal is just waiting for me to breathe my abiding joys, my abiding memories, my abiding creativity, and my abiding life into it. This is what my abiding journal means to me. So those are my tips for daily journaling, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you enjoy journaling and want to stay with me throughout my journaling process, not only in recapping this amazing year of #myabidingjournal, in which I journaled every single day, or at least tried to, but I will have every single day recorded in my journal, then be sure to subscribe so that you can follow along as I continue to put out journal with me's from this past year, and also the flip throughs as well, so that you can see all of the lovely, wonderful, and not so wonderful as well entries that I created. I'd love to hear down in the comments what journaling means to you and how you plan to incorporate it into your routine or your life in 2019. And of course, if you have any tips as well for any of our abiding family members who are looking for some more advice on how to develop a journaling routine, we would all love to hear your advice as well in the comments, so be sure to leave them down there. If you want to get some pretty cool stuff for your journal to help you throughout the year, including possibly Happy Mail sent to your door, or on a simpler level, just getting some printables that you can use in your journal, be sure to check out my Patreon. It's a great way to support my channel here. They are actually the ones to thank for this video because they requested it for the month of December, so you have them over there to thank for getting to see this video. So I hope you all enjoyed it. With all that said, I wish you all a very happy new year full of abiding memories and joy, and of course a little touch of abiding creativity as well. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of our family.